Yeah,
Nice.
we're good. But hey, there were a couple things, Nate. I know you want to get started, but just a couple quick things I wanted to kind of acknowledge, because this is obviously something that we record and then send out to all the players as well. So first it was Maria Strom. Maria's son Brady's on the Trosky National and Trosky Platinum team for the 2024. She's been great and been able to live stream a majority of our games the last couple of weeks for that group. So I just wanted to tell her thank you. I obviously was able to tell her in Georgia, but just thought it would be cool to acknowledge her here. At the same time, player-wise, we had a couple guys named the Perfect Game All-American. All-American game. Both nice. Jackson Cox and Mason McGuire made the Perfect Game All-American. So congratulations to both of them. They currently awesome. they just finished the Perfect Game World Series today. They lost in the quarterfinals out in Arizona, but played really well. Both Jackson, but Mason was there, threw well both times out for him, which was really cool. But that team, that 2022 pool again for the Perfect Game World Series, looks like we are, according to what we have seen, we're the only organization to have won their pool the last 3 years. That's for the Perfect Game World Series, obviously nice. pretty elite event. And then for us to have be the only organization in the country to win their pool 3 years in a row is pretty special. Says a lot for our older groups.
That's great. That's the
Chase
22s.
Hoover was there. That's the 22s. Yeah. So Chase Hoover, an area code kid out of Santa Barbara, was there, threw well. Hit a couple bombs while they were out there on the pro fields, which is pretty cool. And then Eli up there to kind of lead those boys. Also wanted to kind of give a shout out to the 2025 American group. That group went down to Irvine. A couple guys on the Zoom now that were on that team. They went 4-0 down there. Probably had a pretty good shot at winning that thing if the tournament format wasn't as I understand that Jordan Ortiz, Joey Rico all played really well. Joey both sides of the ball pitched well, hit well, and then looked like Jordan did really well offensively too. I know he's on this, so shout out to you guys. Good job. Keep up the good work with that. You guys have been doing really well. And lastly, the Trosky Platinum group, runner up at the 2024 UBC. They're basically 1 out away from winning it. We kind of lost it at the end there. Gave up a big run in the bottom of the 7th, but 1 out away from winning the UBC there, runner up. And then we just all got back from Georgia. We were 5-2 out in Georgia, did really well. Made the top 32 out of 280 plus teams. I think there's 286 teams. We wound up finishing in the top 32, which is really cool. That group was led by Drake Pearsall. In both events, he homered in both events. I think he had 3 home runs over the course of those 2 weeks with wood bats. So that's pretty impressive. And then Easton Barrett basically did it all for that group. Both sides of the ball, pitched incredibly well, hit really well in the leadoff spot. I think he had 2 or 3 homers as well. So both those guys have been doing awesome for themselves, getting a lot of recognition, a lot of notice. So just wanted to give them a shout out before I handed it off to you, Coach Nate.
That's great. Congratulations for what's going on and all the success. It's super. Thanks for letting us know and letting all the players know too, because I don't know if everybody's able to keep up. So great insight. And for players to understand that college coaches, go to the teams that are competitive and have players, right? The teams that have the credible names. So there's 280 plus teams in Jupiter, but a large percentage of those teams don't even get seen. And so it's an honor to have you guys in our program, and it's an honor to be a part of our program because, kids are being seen and our teams are doing well. And Tony, before I start rolling, is there anything that you want to share?
No, not really at this time. I mean, outside of been working hard on getting that thing set up for our August event. So we got that coming around. You're going to be able to come and talk that Friday, and then we're going to jump into some testing and some games, and should be a good weekend. We got a couple of the boys coming from our the Washington, Oregon group with the Showtime. So we got those boys that will be coming this way. You know, and yeah, so just
I was just running the numbers with that event. Looks like we're gonna have 60 to 70 players able to attend that weekend. About 20 of them from out of state, which is pretty cool. We'll call it out of the area. So we'll have 4 or 5 different states representing, about 20 players from out of the area able to come in. So we're excited to be able to get that going. That'll be at Valley Christian and at Hartnell as well. So should be a pretty cool event. We're excited about it.
Yeah, and you know, I know a lot of the Texas group has been doing really well. Winning. I know on the social media they've been winning a good fair amount, and the players are doing really well. So I know that's something too, that just continuing to get those guys integrated in with Mark Klein's group out there in Texas is going to be exciting as we continue to move on. And there's some other really good regions coming on board, so should be good for all the boys, and just more, again, the Six Tool Nation just growing, and just more like-minded players from across the nation. Again, even like again, that event with having so many players from out of state is going to be cool. So there's not too many. I know when I was a player, there wasn't too many places you get to go where you get to be around so many different players from so many different areas. So it is a special thing we got going, and I know again, on the flip side, kind of the way we go about our business is we try to be special and a little different. I know that's kind of every time Nate talks, he kind of hints at that. So I'm just excited to keep things moving and to just grow the players. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Super. Guys, we're excited about today, spending some time with you. And we talk a lot about being master learners. And, we put so much pride in our physical stature as players and our physical tools. There's 5 physical tools as a position player. And I want to go through those tools just quickly since we're on them, because always understanding that those really are your, the boxes you have to check. And a lot of times, we go out and train, but we don't realize that 5 tools are being evaluated, and not only 5 tools, the 6th tool, and also instincts and IQ and feel for the game. So it's such a broad spectrum. And so let's just write down, talking about being master learners. Well, let's be master learners by taking great notes today and going back and revisiting our notes. And I also want to challenge you to go back and revisit these talks, because these talks are transforming, because the law of mental prosperity is very simple. As you think, so shall you be. And I'd suggest you write down as much as you possibly can, because the things that I say and what we say here together as a team is they're life-changing principles, and they take years to actually apply to your life. So when it's over, all said and done, I had an XM radio show yesterday with a college coach, and just look at my notes. I have just covered, I got like seven pages, and I'm the host, and I'm on the show, and I'm taking notes. But if I don't go back and revisit my notes, I'll remember probably less than 5% of what we even, talked about. And life is busy, and the brain is always moving. So if you don't go back and revisit, the quality of your memory will be very limited. So understanding that, 1, we need to be great listeners. 2, we need to be great note takers. Then we need to be great at going back and reviewing our notes. So the 5 physical tools: run, hit, field, throw, hit for power. And then we'll go from the pitching side: command, pitchability, second pitch quality, third pitch quality, then velocity. So understand that is our area. Those are the boxes to check from the physical side. And we're not talking about playing the game. We're just talking about necessarily, the checklist of what college coaches and scouts are looking for. I just got back from Oklahoma and did a camp with about 80 infielders. Just got back about 2 days ago. And there was a 35-year veteran scout that was there for a day and a half. And he has 17 of his own travel ball teams. So he's in the travel ball world. He meets, he sees you, Adam, down at the Scout Ball Rocky tournament. It's and the message is simple, guys, that he's a 35-year major league veteran scout, still with the Boston Red Sox, one of the leading organizations in Major League Baseball. And he said after the first day of camp, he said he was home that night. And I said, how was your, I said, how you doing? He's the next day. And he says, man, you don't even know. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I couldn't even sleep last night. I said, really? He says, dude, my mind was rolling all night. All the stuff you were talking about from the mental game, from the spirit of excellence, on how you guys stretch, how you play catch, teaching the mental game, getting into the minds of these players, and all these things. He said, man, I'm getting better. He's a 35-year, he's 57 years old. He's been scouting for 35 years at the major league level. And it's like, he is getting better. And sometimes as young players, we commit, now we got our tools where we think we need them, and we start getting comfortable. And we're talking right now about being master learners and being lifelong learners. So I want to challenge you, even for the committed guys, and not just even for the committed guys, but maybe even more for the committed guys, because you guys, as humans, you like to get comfortable. And the key is to stay out of the comfort zone, because there's no growth in the comfort zone. So let's write that one down. No growth in the comfort zone. So once you start getting comfortable, what happens is you lose growth. And the key is to grow, to continue to project, because the college coach that actually showed interest in you, or the major league scout that invites you to the area code games, or to a scout team, right? He's looking for the future. He wants to project on you, and that means growth. So there is no growth in the comfort zone. So we really want to avoid getting too comfortable. Going back to the law of mental prosperity, the law of mental prosperity is, as you think, so shall you be. You become what you think about. As you think, so shall you be. So we're talking about the great separator, how you actually think. And self-awareness is a key word to write down, because self-awareness is knowing yourself, knowing what is your internal talk. What is my self-talk? How do I actually talk to myself? Because you literally cannot outperform your thoughts. So whatever you're thinking, literally your body seeks to accomplish. So you have to be the master of not only knowing your thoughts, but also training your brain to trick yourself to change your thoughts. And we call it blocking and replacing. And we're going to talk a little bit about blocking and replacing today. But going back to the law of mental prosperity, you become what you think about. As you think, so shall you be. And the last piece is, if you think in positive terms, you will receive positive results. If you think in negative terms, you'll receive negative results. And that's a fact. So this is like the law of gravity. It's the law of mental prosperity. You become what you think about. So that means our thoughts are extremely important. And I want to get on this concept of tonight on, and we're starting with the mental game, because when we finish, we're going to talk about the recruiting process, and some of the players that are committed. It's not going to be so applicable because they're committed. So we're going to start with the mental game, talk a little about player development, and then we'll finish up with the recruiting process. So from the mind gym, we're talking about going to the mind gym. And when you think about your muscle, your bicep, your quadriceps, your pecs, whatever, any muscle on your body, as you build it, right, it grows. Well, the problem is we don't really grow our brain. And right now we're going to the mental gym, the mind gym, to train the brain. And we want to make this a priority, because going back to the law of mental prosperity is what you become what you think about. So you're like, man, my thoughts are really important. Yes. Your body seeks to accomplish. So if I'm on the mound, my body, that means my delivery. When I'm in the batter's box, my swing. When I'm on defense, my backhand, my forehand, my slow roller, blocking, receiving, throwing. My body literally seeks to accomplish what my mind thinks in pictures. So what we think in picture is extremely important. So the concept today is visual memory. And visual memory is a term that I came up with about 3 years ago. And it's a very simple idea. And first, concept number one is that your body and mind do not know the difference. And let's start getting those pens rolling. Okay, visual memory, understanding your mind. Your mind does not know the difference between a visual image and a real image. And I'll give you a quick little story. When I was a sophomore in college, actually a junior in college, I was at Nicholls State University. We were a top 30 Division I team in Louisiana. And I went from San Jose City Junior College. And I came back for the winter break. And I had a nightmare one night. It was about 1 a.m. and I had a nightmare. And I had a nightmare, in my mind, I had a visual image, right? The visual image was real, because your mind does not know the difference between a visual image and a real image. So, and you guys have experienced this as well, right? You have dreams, you wake up sweating, maybe scared, a night terror, a nightmare, whatever it might be. Well, this was a serious night terror. And I was visualizing in my mind that someone was coming into my room to kill me. So what I did was I stood on my bed, and I have these windows high above my bed, and I started punching out my windows. So I punched out all my windows. My hand was just shredded because the glass was just ripping my hand apart. And I basically punched the whole windows out. And right when I was ready to jump out the window, my sister heard me, and she came. And this is, I'm 20 years old in college. And I came back for winter break, and she comes into the room, and she's like, "What is going on?" And she's like, "What are you doing?" Right? My finger, my pinky, you could see it doesn't work still. It's still messed up. It was cut off, hanging off. And they rushed me to the hospital immediately, and I ended up having surgery that morning. And this is all I got. My finger hooks on a bat really nice, so it works for the bat, but doesn't work real good in a glove. But anyway, here's the point. You don't know the difference. So whatever you create in your mind is real, right? And the mind actually oftentimes becomes a monster. You start becoming irrational how you think. I hope the coach likes me. If I get out right now, I might get cut, right? All this unrational thinking starts to come, and that's being human. So understand, when that type of thinking comes, the monkey is on your back. Understand, it's just because you're human. It's not because you're like this weirdo. It's just, you're human. It's the voice of doubt. And so what do we do with it? That's one of the questions. And what we're going to talk about right now is blocking and replacing. So right now, okay, you have some negative thoughts, the VOD. Write down the VOD, the voice of doubt. Or we could call it the voice of distraction, the voice of drama, right? So right now, there's some type of doubt. I have 2 strikes. Man, I'm concerned about striking out. I'm 0 for my last 2. And I'm playing on the Trosky national team, or Trosky Texas, or Trosky American, whatever team I'm on, the platinum, right? And I know that my bats matter, because when we get to the playoffs, they're going to play the guy with the most hits. Well, so I start putting pressure on myself, right? So what happens is I start to think with concern, with worry, with doubt. And that is fear. Fear is worry, concern, doubt, uncertainty. And I want you to write that definition down. The definition of fear is not like terror, like my nightmare. Fear is any uncertainty, concern, worry, doubt. If I'm unsure of what pitch is coming when I'm batting, I'm fearful. If I'm on the mound, I'm in doubt. Should I throw my curve, my change, and I start my delivery, and I'm caught in between? What happens is there's fear in my mind, because that's uncertainty, that's worry, that's doubt, right? Faith is the opposite. And understanding that faith and fear are always battling for the front of your mind, always. It's faith and fear, that's the battle. And the guy that can reside in faith, that means belief. I can, I will, I fear nothing, I fear no one. So when the voice of doubt, the voice of distraction starts to enter, because I'm telling you, it comes like the wind, and you don't know when it's coming. Sometimes you'll have it the whole game. Sometimes you'll have it in the last inning when the winning run's on second, or you're a relief pitcher and you come in, and when you start games, you're fine. You come in the bullpen, you're like, dude, right now, I don't even know if I want to, get on the mound, right? That's called the voice of doubt, the voice of distraction, the voice of drama. So the question is what do you do? So we're going to give you a little tactic. It's called visual memory. And I was on the phone a week ago with the infield coach for Texas A&M, and he played about 8 years in the major leagues. And he has not been out of the game very long. He's been in college baseball for a very short time. And we were talking about the mental game, and he just recently got hired at Dallas Baptist. So we just switched over from Texas A&M to Dallas Baptist. We talked for about 2 hours, and he was telling me some tremendous stories. And he was talking about how he utilized visual memory. And he didn't call it visual memory because he didn't have a name for it. But I put the name on it because I want you guys to be able to go back to creating memory in your mind, visualizing in your mind a memory that will actually trigger not negative feelings of fear, tension, worry, doubt, right? That's why the guy from Stanford University threw the ball over his catcher's head where Vanderbilt, scores and wins the run. Because literally in his mind, he went to the fear file, and I could see it between his eyes, because the inning before, when he came in, he was in the file of faith. I can, I will, I fear nothing. Let's go. I'm attacking. And you can see it. He dominated. He struck out like 5 guys in a row. And when he started to struggle, you can see in his mind, he had concern, he had worry, he had uncertainty. So no matter who you are, you're going to be faced with. The question is what do you do with it? Now here's Cliff Pennington. This is the story. Cliff is in, and Adam, I know you remember this, and Tony, Dallas Braden threw the perfect game for the A's, right? This was like 3 years ago, maybe 4. So guys, I don't know if you get Mother's Day. So check it out. I mean, this story is ridiculous. Okay, so Mother's Day, Dallas Braden takes the mound. Now understand this, Dallas Braden's mom dies, okay? She's dead, okay? And Dallas grows up with his grandmother. So his grandmother is there in memory of his mother, right? So think of this, think of the mission that he's on. And I want you to write down mission, because the word mission is so powerful. When you have a mission, you are unstoppable. But the problem is so often that we lose sight of our mission. And Tony, if you can remind me to go back to the mission concept and also the bow and arrow, that's Howard Hill. Okay. Howard Hill and the mission, because I want to go back to that in a little bit. Okay. So check this out. His mother passes. He's raised by his grandmother. He has the start, Major League game, Oakland A's, starting pitcher, and he's on the mound. He's on a mission to dominate that day for his mother. Okay. So when you have a mission, what happens is you have like these blinders on and you focus. So your focus is so intense that nothing, the drama, the distraction, the doubt cannot even literally get in. And that day, he was so focused on his mission. He's in the ninth inning, 2 outs, 2 strikes, 1 pitch away from a perfect game. Perfect game. Adam, check Google real quick and see how many perfect games there's been in the history of the game, please. I think there's like 20, like crazy. Like this is a perfect game, right? He's got 1 pitch and Cliff Pennington's at shortstop. And this is what Cliff's telling me. He goes, Nate, I don't want the ball. I don't want it. The voice of doubt, I wanted the ball all game and now I don't want it at all. The voice of doubt comes like when? It's just, here it comes. He's going, I don't want the ball right now. So what did he do? He went into his mind. He had the self-awareness. So first, I want you to write down the 3 R's. Recognize, release, and refocus. So you first got to recognize, yeah, the voice of doubt just came in my head. Okay, I'm human. So you don't panic. You recognize, then you release it, and then you refocus. So that's why we need to have trigger words. Trigger words are powerful, but right now we're talking about the visual memory, but just throw in there recognize, release, and refocus. So what Cliff had to do is refocus, because if he's focused on, I don't want the ball, and if it comes to me and I blow this perfect game, dude, he's going to boot it because he has tension running through his veins, right? So what happens is he changes his focus. The ball is hit to him, and it's a cue ball. It's like the cue ball that's spinning in like 7 different spins. It's like all over the place. He's like, holy cow. Sucks it up, takes it into the center. He said he throws a bullet to first. Perfect game. Game over. Adam, what do you got there? You got it?
In 150 years, 218,000 games, there's only been 23.
Okay. I need you to text that to me. That's pretty crazy. So 23 perfection in 150 years. He's the shortstop. So check this out. He makes this play, and this is what he uses for the rest of his career. Anytime the voice of doubt comes into his mind, he goes back to that play that he made when it mattered. And his confidence, 10, right? His confidence dropping down to a 5. He goes right back to visual memory. He remembers. He focuses on making that play. I want you to write down this acronym, FWTDWF. FWTDWF, you feel what you think, do what you feel. So the point is that I always feel what I think. So the question is, what am I thinking? Because I'm going to do what I feel, right? So not necessarily I feel good and my arm feels good or my legs feel good. It's feeling confident, being in the file of belief. That's feeling confident. So the visual memory, what it does is it takes you away from the focus of fear of what might happen, and you go back to the play that you made. So we're talking infield play right now. Let's go to the mound right now. Remember that one batter when it mattered. Now, what I want you guys to do right now is I want you in your notebooks, I want you to think about it. I want you to write down visual memory. And as a hitter, I want you to have a visual memory. As a defender, I want you to have a visual memory, meaning it could be one at bat, it could be one swing, it could be one pitch. It doesn't make any difference. Whatever that pitch was, that you did something special. And when you think about it, it makes you feel confident. And what happens is it blocks and replaces literally the negative thinking. And you can go back to that memory anytime you want. That's the beauty of it. Pennington was going back to that play through the rest of his career. Because anytime I didn't want the ball, think about it, he's a major league shortstop, and he didn't want the ball at times. So I'm sure you guys don't either. I mean, I know you don't. There's times you don't even know if you're ready even to hit, right? But you have to believe, because you literally feel what you think. So if I feel what I think, my thinking is so important. And if I want to do big things on the field, I got to think big, because I'm going to feel big. So when I think big, I feel big, I play big. And it's a powerful little process. Nick Madrigal just got traded today. I don't know if you guys saw that. Madrigal just got traded to the Cubbies, right? And it's like Madrigal is a 5'6", tiny dude who thinks big, feels big, plays big. That guy plays bigger. Him and Nico Horner play bigger than any 2 players I've ever seen in my life. Now they're teammates again. And by the way, this is just a cool little trivia, guys. You got Nico Horner, okay? Nick never spent time with us with Trosky baseball, but I've had, some opportunities to coach him. Nico spent a small window with us.
He played one tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, man, he didn't even play that well. I mean, it's a snare behind the plate who struck out 47 times. It was like, I mean, the point is good players struggle too, but here's the deal with Nico. Nico and Nick have this presence. Okay. They have this now they're teammates. They played La Miranda, like 10U. Okay. They play Team USA. I had the opportunity to coach that. They were shortstop, second base. Then they go to the area codes, okay, playing together. Then they go to Pac-12 playing against each other. Then they both signed for first round. Now they're teammates. I mean, come on, again, in the big leagues. But here's the point. The point is that these guys choose their thoughts. And one of our pitchers, Mac Lardner, who was a full ride scholarship guy who's playing with the Cardinals right now, he told me, Adam, I don't know if I ever told you this. He goes, every time Nico was behind me at La Miranda, you never thought you'd lose, ever, because he was so confident. So when Nico's on the field, you believe you win. That's the type of spirit we want to bring to the field because we believe. And it's just, Nico, I think, was born like that. I think he rolled out of bed a champion, but very few players have that innately, right? We can think any way we want, and you literally train your brain on how you want to think. FWT, DWF, you feel what you think, you do what you feel. So visual memory, going back to the visual memory concept, Cliff Pennington will go back to that play. Which play are you going to go to? And as a pitcher, which at bat are you going to go to, or which inning are you going to go to? Hitters, which at bat, which pitch? And now what I want you to think about is when you get ready the night before, right? You have a process, and I'm not going to go into the whole process right now. We're going to help you we're just going to give you an idea, and I want you to be creative within your process. But I want you to build a pre-play. We call it pre-play. Pre-play is the night before, okay? That's pre. Then there's the in-play. That's the processes you have during the day of the game, right? So you have your in-play, then you have your post-play. I want you to write that down. Pre-play, in-play, post-play. And you have these three processes. So your job is to create a routine, okay? The night before, and then the night before, you should be like staying out till 1 a.m. So I would just give you a quick story. And this is probably a lot of you guys, or a lot of your friends. So I'm not going to tell you any names. So I was just at the field for the last 4 hours, okay? And 5 hours. I was with Javen for 5 hours. And he told me, I'm not going to tell you who it was. He goes, there's one guy that was supposed to meet us this morning because they run. So they run with some Olympic trainer. They do speed work, and then he meets me. So he goes, the other guy didn't show up. So our trainer calls him. He's like, hey, dude, where are you? And Javen said he looked on his Snapchat that night, and at midnight, he's drinking beers with his buddies. This guy's going to walk on to Colorado to play football. You think he's aligned? You got to be kidding me. He's aligned to get cut. He's got no chance. Okay. But Tony, what was I talking about? Because I was going to say something about that. I just didn't want to say that for no reason. The point was, what was the point on that? The point was, your process. You got to have a pre-process, and the elite of the elite do that. And by the way, if you're not the elite of the elite yet, which most of us aren't, that's where you want to go, right? You say, man, I want to reach my ceiling. So you don't just I'm pretty good, or that guy's elite, or I don't even know if I'll ever be that. Dude, the key is to reach your ceiling. That's your priority. Destination greatness is what it's all about. Greatness for yourself. So if you start thinking, hey, my process needs to be great, not only in game, but pre-game. So the night before, we're just going to give you a tiny ad. The tiny ad is this: before you go to bed, sit in your bed, and I want you also to create a whole highlight reel. So I want you to create a highlight reel of a couple games. You go, man, I remember even when I was 12U, dude, that all-star game, I was raking. I made 2 diving plays. Dude, you can literally sit in your bed, breathe slow, and just go through your highlight reel in your head. Now, what you should do actually is create a real highlight reel. And, you guys got so many tweets, right? And make dad, mom, Adam, whoever, brother, hey, can you help me with a highlight reel? And you got, your next 10 games, you should be able to come up with at least 3 at-bats. There you go, man, those are 3 quality ABs, right? Pitchers, right? Man, I shoved that inning, right? You take that inning and you build your highlight reel. And I learned this highlight reel concept from one pro golfers, GPA guys. That's what they do. They just look at their good swings. They don't even care about bad swings. They could care less. They focus on the good swings. And then my one buddy was left fielder with Mike Trout, Daniel Robertson. He was coaching Oregon State 2 years ago, and we went up there for a camp with Javen, and I met him. I had tremendous honor to meet this guy, and he was just a brilliant dude. And he goes, dude, he sends me that night his highlight reel. He's like 5'7", And he was just chapping the whole time like this. And I was like, who is this guy? He's this little dude that's just when I got to know him, I'm like, man, this guy's brilliant. Then I said, dude, where'd you play? He said, well, I played at George Fox, D3. Dude, he's left fielder with Mike Trout. Yeah, I played George Fox. Then he goes, then I transferred to Oregon State my junior year. Then I got drafted. And then he goes, the last 2 years, I was with Trout. I was his left fielder. And then I'm like, really? And then that night he sends me his highlight reel. He's got a 2-minute, 30-second highlight reel. It's ridiculous because it's done by Major League Baseball, but it's like he's making diving play. He plays second, left field. So he's making all these plays, hitting rockets, diving, stealing bags. And he watches that bad boy. And when you see that, that's all you think about is what you're doing well. And you know what happens? Man, you play big. And the key is to play big. On the final note on the mental game, I just want to finish with, I was watching last night, these NFL guys were talking about the lion, the mentality of the lion. It was just a 2-minute video. It's really good. It's the mentality of the lion. And what they talked about was the lion is the king of the jungle. And the lion is the king of the jungle, not because it's the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, or the smartest, because it's not. There's the cheetah, there's the elephant, there's the hyena, smarter, bigger, faster, right? But the lion has a mentality, literally, that I am the king. I am the king. And that was Pedro Martinez. Every time he took the mound, he's 160 pounds. I dominate. I pitch to dominate. And that's a mindset. That's a mentality. And I'm telling you, some of you guys that are uncommitted, you will become committed because of your mentality. With your projection and mentality, coaches go nuts because it's very hard to find, right? Projection, write it down. Projection plus mentality, okay? Those are 2 gold pieces to the recruiting process. And you guys that are already committed, hey guys, to the pro side, okay? Projection plus mentality, not necessarily, hey, how well did I pitch today? Well, of course we want you to pitch well, but that really, okay, is secondary because most scouts, the elite scouts and elite college coaches are not necessarily scouting and recruiting performance. They're recruiting and scouting projection. That's what the elite do. Okay, they scout, and I super quick story on that. I'm in the Dominican Republic, and one of our German national league pitchers, he's 14 years old, he's 6'8", and he was sitting 86. And he was dominant. We were playing an 18U, the Azuna, Marcel Azuna, his academy, which is one of the top academies in the world. We're playing his team, and they're telling us their whole team are 14s. Well, they're all like 18s. So they're like, beards, and they're all, it's crazy. We got this 14-year-old on the mound just absolutely shoving. Okay, he shoved. He threw like a 2-hitter. Now there was 18 scouts there that day to see that 14-year-old because in the international draft you can sign at 16. Well, check this out. 4 days later, he comes back for another start. A lot of the same scouts came, and then there was some new ones. And this new one was with the Dodgers. He says, what do you got on this kid? I said, man, today he doesn't look very good, but I just want you to know that, man, last game he was electric. He looked like Strasburg. And he's like, dude, I don't care because I don't scout performance. I scout projection. And I want you to remember that, okay? Performance isn't, how many tournaments have we actually won at them? Not that many. But it's not about that. We've had more drafted players probably than any team probably in America. And we don't have the most teams. I was at this one academy in the Midwest. They're the top Midwest academy. They walk me in the room. They say, check out my trophy room. And they had like 7,000 trophies. Then they walk over to the next room. They say, check out my commitment room. There's only 40 guys on the wall. I go, in my head, this is what I say. I go, we have 700, and I don't know if we have one trophy. And I don't even care if we have a trophy. We all love to win. Don't get me wrong. Of course we do. But it's not about that, guys. It's about your work ethic, it's your process every single day. It's getting better every day and committing to the pre, to the in, to the post process. And as you have perspective, you know what happens when we see you in 6 months? You're not the same guy. The other guy's got 12 trophies and he still weighs 165 and he's still throwing 83, right? You're 170. You're our who's the Freddie Rodriguez baby? Come on, is Freddie on the call? Come on.
He's not. He's just coming back from Arizona.
Right. So hey, Freddie Rodriguez jumping like 10, right? This guy's on a mission. Well, the point is Freddie Rodriguez doesn't count his trophies, right? He's looking at his calendar and he's planning his development. So we're going to just simply go through development real quick. And I want you guys to write down this acronym. It's very simple. You've heard it before, but it's CPD, Complete Player Development, BTM, Body, Tools, Makeup. We're going to add a C to that, Body, Tools, Makeup, Character. And I also want to write on there the 7th tool, because the 7th tool really is rest, reflection, planning, goal setting, time with family, time with God, time with prayer, time with solitude, relaxing. So understand that you guys can overwork. Remember the 3 bears, just right, too cold, too hot, right? We're looking for a balance that's just right, because the guys like me, I was too hot. I practiced too much, 7 days a week, never took a day off, and eventually I break. Adam, you have any teammates like that you remember that were actually doing too much?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, quite a few, quite a few.
And usually we burn out. I mean, not necessarily from my mind. I'll never be burnt out until I'm in the grave. But you burn out your body, because your body's only capable of so much. So understand, you guys can do too much. You guys can be so passionate, have the biggest mission, and you're like on fire. But you know what? You have to have balance. And the 7 tool is extremely important. I think what we might do on the next one is really get into the 7 tool a little bit. But right now, simply planning, reflecting, right? Focusing, resting, recovery. And right now, the guys that are coming back from tournaments, okay, this is one of the greatest tools, is to journal your whole tournament. And if hitters, you can go through every at bat, pitch to pitch. It might be hard now because you're a week away or 2 days away, but if you can do it the night of, okay, you just finished that night, boom, you sit down, you go through your bats. You will learn. You will literally have a PhD in hitting, because you have a PhD in who? Yourself. That's the key. Adam can't fix every pitcher. He can't. Within like, you're going to give him like 3 minutes. He goes down the pen. You're down there for 20 and he walks down the last 5. You get your, rocking and rolling. Dude, come on. You got to know yourself. And the same with Tony. He's not going to walk in the cage and fix everybody right before a game. It's like, you have to be able to make those adjustments. So the PhD comes from you learning yourself, knowing yourself, what adjustments work. I'll just tell you today, I'll just give you one super quick, fun example. I mean, Marcel Mayer from our Brewers area code team was 4th pick. By the way, we had 3 first round infielders, which was really cool this year. And Marcel Mayer was 4th pick, San Diego show. And Jabin was watching him take BP. And I was telling him, I was in the dugout for our area code tryouts. And I was talking to the Red Sox scout, JJ Altabelli, whose dad was on the flight with Kobe Bryant. Very sad. And JJ is an unbelievable young man. He's about 28. And he was saying, Marcel has his own private pre-draft workouts. This is really cool information. And for you young guys, this is a cool vision to have for yourself. And maybe you'll never get there, but for you guys that are going to be top draft picks, every year we usually average 5 in the top 5 rounds. So you guys could be one of those guys. And we usually draft, Adam, did you ever get that? I went through the first few rounds. I didn't see too many guys this year. I know the draft was much different in the rounds.
Yeah, a lot more guys going to school. A lot more guys going to school this year.
Let's follow up on that, because I do want to get a count on that. But this is what Marcel does. He sends out an email to all the scouts, and if you do this and you're not like a dude, like on like an area code team or Team USA or making Perfect Game, their top list, you're going to be wasting your time. So, but if if you really feel you're a guy, I mean, you're going to know you're a guy if you are a guy, and you can even ask, hey Adam, do you think I'm that guy? I have a chance to get drafted, but like what he does, he just sends out an email to all the scouts. And he just says, I'm going to work out these, the next 3 days over the next week and a half. And scouts roll in. And when you watch him take BP, I mean, it's electric. And I want to tell you about his process, because what impressed the Red Sox more than anything was his process. And I want you to write it down, my process. Okay. This is your pre-process. This is your weekly process. This is your pre-game process. This is what you do before you get to a tournament. And it's all the preparation and all the stuff that Adam's talking about. He was talking about all these guys that are playing tremendous. Guys, that just doesn't happen. I used to do the teams with Adam. We'd go down to Arizona. We'd do all this stuff. And we would have guys that were supposed to be superstars, underachieved. It was so embarrassing, because we'd have 150 scouts watching the games, and the guy's supposed to be 92 and he's 86, right? And then you got a sophomore supposed to be 86 and he's 81. And you got a guy that's supposed to rake and he can't even hit, right? And you got a guy from the outfield that has a cannon, but his arm hurts because he hasn't played catch for 2 weeks. It's like, so understand that these guys that are putting up numbers, guys, that's your time. You have these windows and you have to be on fire. One, if your mind's not, if you don't believe, you got no chance. But if you believe and you put the work in, man, you have the greatest chance to be at your absolute best. So these guys that are hitting home runs and raking and dominating on the mound, it's because of the preparation, right? So this was the point that the Red Sox scout made. He said, when I watch Marcel, he has a routine. And he goes, his routine doesn't vary. And we sit there for 2 hours. And he has a guy he works out with. His BP routine is like a major league routine. So he has this, he goes like 8 rounds, 10 rounds, whatever he does. And, he does no stride. Then he'll go oppo, right? And then he'll do like a middle round, then a pull round. Then he'll do even a sac fly home run round. Then he'll do situation round. So they just sit back and watch. And what was most impressive about this first rounder was not necessarily how good he is, because they already knew he was good, but it was his process. Then he goes out on the infield and he has a whole routine from his knees to standing, right? To glove work, to turns, to feeds, to making plays, throwing across the diamond, then into some base running, and then he's done. But he has a process and he has a plan and he executes it. And that's what guys don't do, because most guys act their age. And he's ready literally for the big leagues within like 3 years. He'll probably be in the big leagues within 3. Could you imagine being side with Trout and Tatis? These guys, I mean, come on, you got to be ready. So if you can't put the time in, and whatever you're doing right now, you know, I want you to evaluate it. Think about it. Go, man, what am I doing? And when we're talking complete player development, body tools, makeup, this summer, you literally have time to build the makeup. And I'm going to give you one way to do it. This is life-changing. Okay. If you just go to, it changes my life all the time. Every time I see one, I've watched the Pete Rose documentary probably 50 times. I watched the Jordan like 5 times. If you just go to, I can't even remember the name. Give me a second. It'll pop in my head. I gotta take off my thinking cap so I can think. Write that one down. That's a good one. Take off your thinking cap. When you start thinking too much, you never can remember, right? Because there's tension. Take off your thinking cap. Okay. I'll remember in 2 seconds. So what it is you just go to YouTube, boom, and you just click in any elite athlete, Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, Pete Rose, Nolan Ryan, Bob Gibson, anybody, Johnny Bench. They have the documentaries on them, and they're only like 40 minutes, and it tells you the whole story from when they were like 5 years old, where they grew up, where they went to high school, what they struggled with, you know, what made a difference in their career. Okay, and it's I'll remember. I got to take out my thinking cap again. I'll remember in a second. But the point is this: if you watched one a week and you took notes, your maturity, your emotional maturity and your mental maturity would go through the roof. And then your decision making, because what happens is you go, man, I just learned from Willie Mays. He told me the 3 mistakes he made when he was 17 years old. Wow. And it really had a significant impact on his life, right? This is what messed up Willie Mays. This is very interesting. This taught me a lot about a coach, just watching his documentary. Willie Mays, when he got to the minor leagues, he got into the big leagues, it was the first time he ever got a girlfriend. And he had no idea how to be a boyfriend. So what it did was it literally ruined his mind, because he was so confused. And understand, women are powerful. Okay, you guys are, you know, young men, and obviously we're drawn, and there's this emotional feel that you have no control of. So understand, it's like playing with fire. Well, Willie waited a long time. Once he got his first girlfriend, it really almost like ruined his career, because he was struggling, and they talk about it in it, how he really struggled, and he continued to struggle, and he continued to struggle. So point is that you learn from Willie, hey, if I'm going to have a girlfriend, what is that going to mean? Does that mean I'm all in? Does that mean I go on just to the prom? And what I would say is, if you choose to have a girlfriend, I'm not saying you can't have one. You have to have boundaries and a time limit, and say, hey, you know what? I got a couple hours a week. And if you're not good with that, I'm sorry. But the point is, going back to learn from the lives of Pete Rose and these guys, you know, and they made a lot of mistakes, but if you can avoid your mistakes, okay, because you learn from their mistakes, transforming. So that's the makeup side, okay? Reading your notes, working on your visual memory, okay? We're talking about creating your process, your routine. Marcel Mayer, you know, learning from his process, and he executes it with precision daily. And they go, man, what a beautiful sight. And that's what was the takeaway when the Red Sox ended up taking him was, dude, I mean, we talked about it for like 20 minutes. He said, Nate, his process is crazy. I've never seen anything like it, right? And that's the Royce Lewis story of his process. I'm not going to get into that now. So body, think about your body right now. Write down your height and weight. Write it down. Height and weight. Write down your height and weight, okay? And obviously, you don't have a lot of control with your height, but I want you to be conscious of your weight. I was just in Oklahoma. I talked to a Division I starting shortstop, played at UNC Wilmington, stud, okay? His dad told me that his son lost 14 pounds this summer. That's a problem, guys. You can't be losing 14 pounds, okay? The average weight in the major leagues right now is 207 pounds, okay? Major League Baseball scouts and college coaches like strong players, physical. We don't like weak. Weak doesn't translate, right? So understand that as you go through this summer circuit, right, you have to take pride. I'm at the field with Javen. He ate 3 power bars. That was 80 grams of protein just during our workout. He's got peanut butter and jellies in his pockets, literally. And he knows on August 25th, he will be weighing in at Oregon State for his physical. And he knows exactly what his goal is. His goal is to be 176. And right now he's 173. And about a month ago, he was like 167. Okay. So understand that this isn't just go hit the tee and go to a tournament. I hope someone likes me. Okay, this is complete player development. Body, just went through your body. Tools, now you got your 5 tools. Okay. Be realistic on how you can train them. You might say, hey, it's going to be tough, getting them all in this summer. I don't know. I'm not going to put too much pressure on, but I'm going to tell you this. Okay. The reason why the Dominicans have better arms and the Latin players have better arms than Americans, because they throw every day. A lot of you guys will go throw for a 3-day weekend, and then you'll take 3 days off of throwing. Okay. Even if you don't even throw a lot, just go out and throw 60 feet, unless your arm's hurt. Okay. So throw. And then if your arm's in a good place, you mix in some long toss. Okay. So you got the run, hit, field, throw, hit for power. And you should be lifting weights. This summer. It's not like, well, we just went on a trip for a week, went to Georgia, and I got back. My family and I went camping. It's been 2 weeks, just lost 7 pounds. And, this is a lifestyle. And understand, it's the greatest lifestyle in the world, by the way. So it's not like, oh man, this is a lifestyle. It's like, yes, this is my lifestyle. Let's go. Freddie Rodriguez changing the game. And we could Adam could list right now 15 of our pitchers that have thrown 100 miles an hour, and they were throwing 80 sophomore year. Dude, he could tell you 15 right now. I can throw off 5 in 2 seconds. Okay. That throw 96 to 102. It's crazy because of the relentless desire to get better, but also the 7th tool. Understand the day of rest is important too. And in Latin America, it's one thing I've learned too, is they rest 1 day every single week. So you might say, hey, Wednesday's going to be my day off. I've been grinding, or maybe a travel day is your day off. You might say, hey, we're going to travel on Friday. That'll be my day just to chill and to relax a little bit. Adam, should I talk a little bit about academics, or should we just move on and be done?
Yeah, we can save it for the next one for sure when we go into the 7th tool.
Okay, super. Let's do that. I got a lot of good stuff on academics, and what I'll do is let me just do one story on academics. Okay, we were in LA for scout ball, and my nephew was going into his freshman year, and Tommy Nicholson, the Stanford infield coach, comes over to the game. There's probably about 12 college coaches behind home plate, and Jabin was playing shortstop, and Tommy walks over, and I say, hey, what's up, Tommy? I said, let me know who you like on the field. That's all I said. Within about 20 minutes, he said, hey, I like that shortstop. And I said, oh, cool, man. That's my nephew. He's like 15 years old. He said, oh, really? He's really good, man. And I go, cool. I go, don't waste your time with him, Tommy, because he's not going to Stanford. He's like, what do you mean? I go, academically, he's got no shot, bro. He's not a student. He doesn't like to study. And when he gets done with school, the last thing he wants to do is open a book, and I have to convince him to study. He's like, really? Yeah. So understand that the academic fit is a fit. You just don't go where someone might want you, and you just don't go to the Stanford camp because you got invited, right? The academic fit is very important. We'll talk more about it next week. But for someone as a freshman to turn down Stanford University, they did not offer him at the moment yet. So that's not the point, but they were considering that process of bringing him into, right, putting him on the drawing board and saying, hey, this is one of our top 6 infielders we're following right now. We said, no, thank you. Don't even waste your time, because he has no chance. Now, athletically, sure, but the 4 fits we'll get into next week. We'll talk a little bit more about them, and we'll focus, Adam, on the academic fit. So understand, guys, there is a fit. Think about your GPA and your SAT. I know a lot of you guys are not taking your SAT yet, but think about, okay, the type of student you are. Are you a high, mid, or low achiever in the classroom? Okay. And then we're going to start really talking about how do you align yourself with the schools that align with who you are. Because if you go to a school out of alignment, you know what happens? You end up at the JC in about 3 months, maybe you get through the whole season. In about 9 months, you're back to JC. You're playing at San Mateo, you're playing at Sac City, okay, you're playing at Riverside, playing at Fullerton. Okay, you're playing somewhere, but you're not where you started. And the goal is to finish where you start. That's the goal. Write that down. The goal is to finish where I start and to thrive, not survive. Okay. We're not in survival mode. This is thrive mode. So the 4 fits are absolutely essential. And the guys that are not committed yet, guys, relax. Okay, relax, because it's coming. Focus on your process every day. Okay. And I'm gonna finish with this. This is a 2-minute story on being prepared. Guys that are not committed, this is the message for the uncommitted. I was just at the field this morning with a 2-time Olympian. He trains Jabin with running with a couple other dudes. JT
Bird.
Yeah, JT Burns, or JT's classic. JT, he's back from football. He's at Oregon State, so he doesn't. JT's not a big fan of running. So anyway, so JT went back, but this super quick story, and it applies to you guys, the uncommitted. Okay, Nick Cunningham is a 2-time Olympian. He has no job. Okay, but he wants one. Okay, so he's preparing every single day for the job he wants. So when it opens, what happens? He gets it. Okay, so he's just like you. He's uncommitted, guys. He's uncommitted. He's going, dude, where's my job? Dude, I'm a 2-time Olympian. I want to be a track coach, right? He's helping out at Carmel, but he wants a college job, right? And every day he's on the track grinding, okay? He's getting his master's. He completes it, but he's prepared. When opportunity knocks, you know what happens? He opens the door, he goes through the door, and he receives. You know what happened? The MPC job, the Monterey Peninsula Community College track job, opened up. Within 1 week, he's hired. Full-time job. That's one of the most difficult jobs to get, is a full-time junior college job. He got it in seconds because he was prepared. When the opportunity came, he was ready. Here's the point. You guys that are uncommitted, that's fine. Prepare, own the process, know you're in the right time, in the right place. It's your journey, okay? And your journey is going to work out according to plans. But you need to prepare because the opportunity is going to come. And I'm telling you right now, Adam's going to get a call. What's your name, the guy right there? Your name is Renee? What position do you play, Renee?
I can mostly play anywhere, but I'm primarily a catcher.
Okay, what's your GPA?
I think 3.45.
Okay, so you see your, let's say UC Irvine calls, and they're looking for a catcher. Okay, and the 3 guys they had on their board, okay, just decided to go somewhere else. One of them decides he doesn't want to play anymore, and the 2 other commit to UC Santa Barbara and Cal State Fullerton. So now they're down to nobody. And he calls up Adam, and he says, Adam, who do you got? He says, I got this guy named Renee on our team. He's a 3-4-5. Okay, and this guy's a worker. He's ready. The opportunity comes when you least expect. Okay, and when it comes, you know what happens? You got to be ready. And they go, hey, Adam, when's he going to be playing? You know what he does? Adam says, next week we're going to be playing in Arizona. He's going to be catching the second game. The coach comes down. That's your opportunity. If you're not on fire that day, okay, with passion, ready, your blade is sharp, you're at your best. You might not get 3 hits, but you're at your best. Okay. You know, and most players aren't because they're worried. They're thinking uncommitted. So be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. Awesome.
Awesome, Nate.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Adam. You're welcome. Thank
All
you,
right,
gentlemen.
guys. Yeah, appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys being here. I'm gonna wind up posting it to the YouTube here, probably the next day or so. So I'll give you guys an
Awesome.
opportunity to rewatch it if you have any questions or want to take more notes on it. And the guys that aren't here will have a chance to see it too. So Nate, always appreciate the time, guys. I appreciate you being here and watching it in live time.
Live time.
All right, guys. Yep. All right. We'll see you guys.
Better every day.
Take care.